When I was 19 years old and still in high school, my life was pretty normal. My daily routine was just like any other high school student's. I went to classes, hung out with friends, and played soccer almost every Sunday evening at around 5 o'clock. Soccer was a big part of my life, and I always looked forward to those games. One Sunday, after finishing a good game of soccer, I went home feeling exhausted but satisfied. As I settled down and relaxed, I received a text message from an unknown number. The message read, "You played really great today." I was confused and surprised, so I replied with, "Who are you?" But after that, there was no response. It felt strange, but I tried to shrug it off and ignored it. Later that night, as I was working on my school assignment, I got another text. This time, it was around 10 p.m. The message said, "Why are your room lights still on?" I froze. My heart started racing because my room lights were actually on. Someone was watching me. I stood up and cautiously looked outside my window, but there was no one there. The street was quiet, and everything seemed normal. I didn't dare step outside because it didn't feel safe. I was alone at home that night, and the last thing I wanted was to take any risks. Feeling anxious, I grabbed my phone and called my best friend, Eddie. I asked him if he was messing with me, playing some kind of prank, but he sounded confused. He swore he had no idea what I was talking about. That made me even more nervous. I ended the call with Eddie, hoping that the police could help me figure out what was going on. As I waited for the police to arrive, I received another chilling text message. "You shouldn't have involved the police." My hands were shaking. I didn't know who this person was or how they knew what I was doing, but I felt trapped and terrified. I quickly locked all the doors in the house and waited, my heart pounding in my chest. When the police finally arrived, I showed them all the text messages. They took it seriously and assured me they would trace the number to see if it was a real threat. I felt a little safer with them there, but the whole experience had shaken me up. After that night, I decided it wasn't safe to stay home alone anymore. I moved to my aunt's house for a few months to be somewhere I felt secure. Thankfully, nothing else happened after that, but the memory of those texts and that terrifying night stayed with me. Even though it didn't lead to anything worse, it was one of the scariest experiences of my life. About 8 years ago, I went on a date with a guy I had just met. At first, everything seemed normal, but as the date went on, I started to feel uneasy. There was something about him that didn't sit right with me. I couldn't figure out exactly what it was, but he gave off bad vibes. Still, I tried to be polite and get through the date without making a scene. When it was over, he insisted on walking me back to my place. I didn't want him to, but I didn't have the confidence to say no at the time. I just wanted to get away, but I let him walk me home. As soon as I got inside, I felt a huge sense of relief. I quickly sent him a text saying, "Hey, thanks for the date, but I don't think we're compatible. I hope that would be the end of it." After sending the text, I decided to take a shower to relax and clear my head. But when I got out of the shower, my phone was blowing up with notifications. I had about 50 unread messages, all from him. At first, the messages were questions like, "Why? What did I do? Why don't you want to see me again?" As I kept reading, they got more intense. He started trying to argue with me, demanding that I give him another chance. Then the messages took a dark turn. He started getting angry, calling me names and saying things like, "You're a hoe who thinks she's better than me." My heart started racing as I scrolled through the messages. And just as I thought it couldn't get worse, another message popped up. I'm going to kill you. Fear hit me hard. I grabbed my phone and bolted out of the house without thinking twice. I didn't feel safe at all. I went straight to the local police station, my phone in hand, shaking with fear. I've never been so terrified in my life. The police took it seriously. Thank goodness. They fined him and charged him for threatening me. Even though he got punished for what he did, the whole experience was incredibly scary. It was a reminder that sometimes you just don't know who you're dealing with.